And there's the mark. 10 seconds and then we will start. And they are off. Just waiting for stream delay as usual, so we will have to wait a few extra seconds. And here they go. And Carrick, thank you so much for that subscription. And since World 1 is the same every tournament, every single time, I can just say that any money from the subscriptions or bits or donations, it goes to the community funds. And well, it will go back into the community. Oh, sorry guys, didn't mean to adjust the screen there. Now, wire 3. The very first jump here is scary for some people in a race. It's not difficult, but if you mess it up, you die. And if it's any time that it's gonna happen, it's in a race. When you have some extra nerves, etc. But so far, the players are going through this well. Milanii is using the brown platforms, which will make him get a 259 at the end instead of a 258. You saw the difference there on Sonic's screen. Just a really minor optimization, but one of the few things you can do to speed up the early levels in the game. And here in Wire 4 you can actually do a shell jump. Let's see if anyone goes for it. Milanii jumps over the shell, and Sonic kicks the shell away. So no shell jumps today. But be on the lookout for it for the other races in the tournament. Iggy's Castle, in the first room you can actually gain or lose a fair bit of time, depending on your strats going through, and especially this first cage is difficult. And oh, Sonic takes the death. That's an easy mistake to make when you're trying to be too good at the first cage. I get through it the second time and gets a 79 door. Would have been a 80 door if the door wasn't the final boss and would be really difficult to get through. And Milanii goes for the slide kill on Iggy. Let's see what Sonic is gonna go for there. Ooh, and he loses his flower. Now there are a few flowers to get along the way, so that's not that big of a deal really. But optimally, he would want to keep that fire for, well, until he is at Chocolate Island. So yeah, Sonic is a bit behind Milanii, but it's still early on, so I wouldn't count him out yet. And a nice cape grab there from Milanii, not wasting any time. So yeah, from now on for the rest of the run, you're gonna see a lot of use of the cape. Since, well, using the cape is faster. Well, flying through the air is faster than running on the ground. So the players will be trying to fly as much as possible. Donut Secret 1, the water level that Milanii is in, is another one of those levels where you can lose a lot of time fairly quickly from even what feels like minor mistakes. He wants to keep this shell all the way to the P-switch, and then exchange it since the P-switch can't be knocked out of your hands by the enemies. Oh, and Sonic grabbed the flower there. So yeah, as you can see, the flower loss that he added Iggy isn't that big of a deal. You saw that Sonic's pipe there was actually 2 colors. That was because he went a bit too high on the screen, which loses a little bit of time, but it's not anything important. It's just a nice thing to know that if you see 2 colors on this pipe, that means that you have gone a bit higher up than you need to. Oh, Milanii misses the fast takeoff in DP3, but it seems like he knows about the backup. Well, he made a backup, he didn't lose much time. But if he misses that takeoff at the very first grey platform, you can do an even faster backup, which doesn't include going backwards and forwards at all. So, if you feel like that jump is something that you struggle with, try and look up the backup for it to lose as little bit of time as possible. I looked away so I didn't see if Sonic got the backup, but well, if Sonic got the early flight. But I do believe that he did get it. And here, seems like Milanii is not going for Yoshi. If you want to do go for wings in Vanilla Dome 1, you need to get Yoshi here in the Donut Plains 4. And if you do get wings, it saves quite a lot of time. Optimally about 30-40 seconds faster than doing the level normally. However, wings is a difficult trick to do and easy to mess up, so if you are uncomfortable with it in a race, it's perfectly fine to not go for it. And we see that Milanii is getting the spring, perfect Mortal Fly for him. And meanwhile, Sonic was grabbing the Yoshi, so we will see at least 1 wings attempt from these players. Ooh, that was a bit scary for Milanii. He could have gotten hit both by the spikes and by the dry bone. But that's a solid Mortal from him. Nicely done. Oh, Sonic was going for a strat that I haven't seen before in Mortal's Castle. He didn't keep his flight, but he didn't miss any cycles. So it's not too slow. I know he struggled a bit with getting up there, so he ended up missing a cycle. Which, as you can see, loses you quite a lot of time since you can't do anything. You just had to stand and wait there. But it's interesting to see that he was doing another strat for it. And now Milanii is gonna show you how to do Vanilla 1 without going for Yoshi wings. Excuse me. And that involves going through all the rooms in the levels, so if you don't watch Super Mario World that often, or if you just watch Top Runners, keep your eyes out, because this is something you don't see otherwise. You need to be careful there at the slope that Milano was with. Because, well, if you do spin fly into it, you can actually clip through it and fall down there. Now let's see what Sonic does. Let's see how the wings go. Oh, he could have destroyed his shell there straight away. Good thing he didn't, because he needs that shell. Now he is struggling to get a hold of it. It's not cooperating with him at all. Gets the first dupe. So what he wants to do now is to grab the dragon coin, and then he's going to go for a sideways dupe and hopefully get the Wingston. Oh, and he lost the shell. He needs a new shell if he will continue to go for them. But yeah, you can see as a comparison, this long that Sonic has taken going for wings would mean that it's faster to do the level the way Milanii did. Meanwhile, Milanii is just flying through this. Ooh, and he gets keyed. That means that he will have to do the level normally anyway. I'm happy to see that he went for it, but as I said before, going for wings in Vanilla 1 is difficult. Oh, and losing all his power-ups as well. Was a good thing though that he realized that he couldn't go back for the flower, because the sandbar would have gone down too far and killed him. Now, Vanilla 3 for Milanii. Another interesting level. There is a lot of different strats you can do for this. Misses the first flight, so he will have to slowly ride this raft. He will go for another raft flight in the next room though, so hopefully that one will go better. And Sonic is finally done with Vanilla 1. Here Milanii is grabbing Yoshi, because you want Yoshi for a upcoming level, Cheese Bridge area, the first level after Castle 3, where you can grab Yoshi wings just for free in the middle of the level. And Milanii gets the second raft flight, no issues at all. Oh, he has a interesting strat for the end part of Vanilla 3 though. Usually we'll see players go the upper path there just to avoid all those enemies and be able to fly undisturbed all the way to the end. Ah, Sonic losing a cape. But yeah, I would say that Milanii so far has gone for consistency over, well, optimization. A lot of the strats that he's been going for is strats that you really don't mess up that often. And things like wings in Vanilla 1, he has just skipped on. Because in a race it's usually better to be consistent. Now you see him killing Magikoopa there at the start of the castle. That is just because Magikoopa can be really annoying for the rest of this room if you leave him alone, alive. Oh, Sonic takes a death in the ghost house. The good thing for Sonic here though is that he can get his cape back, because there's both a flower block and a cape block in this first room of the ghost house. Meanwhile, Milanii is going through the semi-auto-scroller section in Lemmy's castle, and he will now go through the door to fight Lemmy himself. And no issues at all. Nicely done from Milanii. And while Milanii is in the cutscene, we will see Sonic attempt to nail down 3. I would expect Sonic to go for the different raft flights. Seemed like he was going for the first one, but he didn't manage to stick to the slope, which is a necessity when you go for that strat. Also, since Milanii is going to do the easiest level in this run, you should keep looking at Sonic's screen for a little bit at least. Struggled a little bit with Yoshi, but managed to back it up. And you can see that Milanii chose to dump his Yoshi. It's actually barely faster to keep the blue Yoshi instead of grabbing a new one in Forced Evolution 1. But it doesn't lose more than 1 or 2 seconds, so if you're more comfortable with going without Yoshi for this level, then ditch him. You don't need him for that level anyway. Oh, Sonic getting hit by a bullet. It's random where on the screen those bullets are gonna appear, and that one bullet just happened to be just in Sonic's way. Now the second room of Ludwig's castle is fairly difficult. Milanii is going for the cape strat. Ooh, but he loses his cape. He tried to go really low towards the floor just to avoid the potty boost that he just jumped under. But he went a little bit too late and instead touched the floor and got hit by the bony beetle. What is important though is that you keep your flower for this boss fight, because having a flower here can save you 12 seconds. And yeah, there will be a cape to pick up in the very next level for Milanii, so you won't lose too much time of it, especially if he knows his no cape strats. And Sonic is going into his Lemmy boss fight. Once again, just 3 hits on the head and he's done. But that Poteboo can be in the way, so still need to be careful. Milanii seems comfortable in his no cape strats, so he will not lose a lot of time to losing the cape there. Grabbing his Yoshi and just going forward with P-speed. And well, there you have it. Milanii is back on track, and he's going to go for Yoshi clips in Forced Evolution 2. Now, even if it does everything correctly, he can actually kicked out and have some really bad luck. So let's hope, for Milani's sake, that Yoshi is kind to him. So what he's gonna try to do is flipping through the floor here by using some magic. And he gets it. First try, Yoshi was kind and very well done. No, I didn't see what Sonic did, but I'm not sure how he messed up that level because he had Yoshi on cape. If you do have Yoshi and cape in this level, all you have to do is hold Y and then hold B once you reach the end of the bridge. And that's honestly all you have to do. So I guess that team must have released one of those buttons for some reason at some point. And meanwhile Milanii is getting hit and losing his power-ups. So really some bad stuff happening to the runners right now. Oh, and Sonic says in chat that he took off too early, so that was the reason for why he why he died in Cheese Bridge area. Milanii meanwhile is going back for a cape. Having a cape in Roy's Castle and for the start of Chocolate's Island can save you quite a bit of time. So as long as you are comfortable with Roy Flight, which is gonna come up soon, you going back for a cape is a good idea to do. And while Milanii soon is gonna go to Roy, Sonic is going into Ludwig's castle. It's gonna be interesting to see what he does in room 2. I don't know if he usually goes for cape or fire strats, but if he goes for fire strats, you hope that he knows his backups. And now look at Milani's screen and see if he gets his Roy Flight. Dives down to get through the Podoboos. Nicely done. So yeah, Roy's Castle is usually one of the more difficult castles, well, more difficult levels for new runners of the category to tackle. Because that fight that you do in the beginning between the Podoboos, if you don't really, if you're not that comfortable with how the cape works, you are going to die there once in a while. And dying in Roy costs a lot of time. So if you're a new runner, sink some practice into that level, please. And we see both of the runners exploding castles. Milanii did the old-fashioned way and blew it up himself and the castle at the same time, while Sonic shot his castle at a poor hill in the distance. And Milanii chooses to just fly over this level. You can go for a strat that has a small time save in it, which is that you spin fly into a pipe that shoots you out of a cannon. But yeah, Milanii has a big lead, and if you mess that up, you will lose time compared to just flying through the level normally. So, not a bad decision at all to just fly through it. And something interesting here is that he's going for spin flight strats in the ghost house. This is because there is an invisible pipe off screen here that you won't be able to see. but you will still see most runners just go for normal flight there. And also a fairly unique strat for the second room. So yeah, if you do not like the standard strats for the Chocolate Ghost House, you can check out what Milanii just did. Because that will actually, well, it works just as well as the other strat and doesn't lose more than like tenths of a second. Oh, and Sonic takes another death. He will get his Yoshi though, and he has a cape at the midway point. So hopefully everything will work out fine for him. Did Sonic pause his game there? Yeah. And time to watch Sonic do Yoshi flips. Let's hope that he gets as much luck as Milanii had. Meanwhile, Milanii is going to Chocolate Secrets. The first room is a lot harder to do optimally with Yoshi compared to no Yoshi. But no issues at all for Milanii this time. Ooh, Sonic dropping Yoshi on the ground twice. So this clip is dependent on subpixels. And dropping Yoshi on the ground makes it so that you don't know anymore which subpixel Yoshi has. And well, it will basically be a 50-50 now for if he managed to get through or not once he has clipped into the wall. The game was nice though. Sonic is through there. Yoshi is dropped and he's going for the block to make him swim faster. Meanwhile, Milanii is having a perfect Chocolate Secrets. No issues at all at any point. Oh, and Sonic clips into the level again. That loses a lot of time. So yeah, now instead he will have to go through the level normally. And after having spent all of that time earlier on trying to go through the clip to not go through the level normally, this will be really quite costly. Meanwhile, Milanii is going into what is my favorite castle. Wendy's castle with a lot of different cape techs. What you will see there was the Crusher skip, which if you do it correctly isn't too hard to do, but you really need to know what you're doing, because otherwise that Crusher will kill you. When Sonic dies just in front of the goal in Forest Evolution 2. And really nice Wendy's castle from Milanii. Very well done. Oh, Milanii losing his cape, but as long as he keeps this mushroom, everything is fine. Because the very first block in the Sunken Ghost chip contains a cape. And now, once again, Sonic will have to swim slowly through this level. Let's just hope that he gets through it. Picks up Fire Flower again to save some time in Roy if he manages to keep it all the way there. For Milanii, meanwhile, he don't need a flower anymore. For him, none of the bosses turn left goes faster with the Fire Flower, so better to just have a cape, and even a backup cape if you manage to get it. And you will see Milanii attempting to despawn the Boo Rings. Well, a Boo Ring in the at the end of this room. Sets up by getting hit twice. Gets on Yoshi. And it looks like he might have been a little bit slow there, so maybe he needs to scroll. but he should still be able to get the despawn. Yeah, he will definitely need to scroll if he wants this despawn. Nope, no scrolls, so you'll see 2 boo rings at the end of the Sunken Ghost Ship Room 2. And it's faster to just go through the boo ring there. Well, just try and swim through it instead of waiting for it. Unfortunately, got hit and lost Yoshi, which cost him a bit of time. Meanwhile, Sonic keep just flying through FY3 and going into Roy. And there's a orb grab from Milanii. He will now go into Valley of Bowser. And Sonic is going for his Roy flight. Let's see how it goes. It started with a dive bomb a bit too late, it seemed like. And tried to adjust, but it was too late, so couldn't really do anything. Ooh, Milanii taking off too early before his flight meter had a chance to reset. Which made it so that he couldn't get past the mole. But he can grab a cape in the next level, so he should be fairly fine. Ooh, Sonic didn't know it, but if he just held right there, he would actually have gotten through it. He would have made it through because he was bouncing correctly on the body boosts. Oh, and it's a game over from Sonic. That's really painful. And he resets, so he forfeited the race. It's still... Sonic tried to get through it. Feel like he deserves some praise, even though it didn't go the way he wanted it to. And this is not the end for Sonic. He will go to the losers bracket, where he will face another person that loses in the first round. So hopefully it will go better for him in that match. But for now, let's look at Milanii going through the rest of this level, or the rest of this run. One good thing about this category is that you get those wings before the sandbar. No need to sit through the slow sandbar. And Milanii will now attempt Sexy Slide in this ghost house. Let's see how it goes for him. So just running under these blue lasers, well, cape cancelling through that one. And now here is the Sexy Slide attempt. Took, well, started to go right a little bit too early. This one looks better. Yeah, he got it. The trick at the end there of the Valley Ghost House is fairly precise, but there are good visual cues for it, so it's not that difficult to do, even though it is kind of precise. If that makes any sense. Magic Koopa spawns, but Milanii manages to kill him before he causes any trouble. That was actually a bad position for him to spawn, but Milanii killed him again. No issues at all. Wasn't the fastest room 2 of Larry from Milanii, but he did everything that needed to be done. And now there's only one level left. We will see Milanii go to Bowser after this cutscene. The final castle has been defeated, and now it's just the big bad boss himself. Now I don't know which strats that Milanii goes for, but I assume that he goes for room 2 and room 5. But let's see now. Yep, room 2, getting the flight as well. Exactly how it's supposed to be done. And then he goes for room 7. So if you just have one cape, room 7 is faster, but harder. And he didn't get the door flight, so he had to run at start. But no issues for the rest of it. And now for the dark room, that usually only is dark for you when the sun is glaring on your TV. But Milanii seems to have no problem with the sun and gets through it. And here is Bowser. And well, if it does everything correctly, then this fight is actually scripted. But if he misses a hit, he will lose time straight away. Gets the first hit without any problem. Killing that second Mecha Koopa just to make sure that Bowser spawns 2 of them here on this hit. And first phase is done without any issues at all. He's keeping this Mecha Koopa to be able to do ball skip in the next phase. Which makes it so that Bowser only drops 1 bowling ball instead of 2. Before casting Mecha Koopas out. And perfect ball skip, no issues at all there. Jumping up for the forfeit, shouldn't be any issues here either. And now there are only 2 hits left, then he has beaten the game, finished the run, and advanced to the next round of the tournament. So now he's gonna stand underneath the carts. Perfect hit. Now just the very last hit left. Oh, that was a strange setup, but I think he knows what it's doing. And he did. Well done, Milanii, the winner of this match. So the lower seed did manage to win this round. So GG and well done, Milanii, and GG Sonic as well. Hope you do better next time. And that is actually all the racing that we have for you today. Let's take a quick look at the schedule and see when the next race is gonna be. So the next race is currently planned to be Tuesday night. So if you want to watch more, just keep a lookout on this channel on Tuesday night, and you will be able to see some. But yeah, that will be it from me for tonight. So thank you everyone for the race.